Real Country 1430 AM and 107.3 FM WRDN. I'm Brian Winnekins, and joining us this morning is Durand, Arkansas School Superintendent Greg Doverspike as we talk about the school board meeting from last week. And Superintendent Doverspike, again, thank you for joining us today. Well, there was a public hearing and a vote on when we can start school, or at least asking for a waiver to start school early. And this is something that it's always been there, but it's really arose out of the COVID situation, hasn't it?
Yeah, there's always been the option of being able to request a DPI to start before the September 1 start date. But those reasons were very few and far between. It was really a difficult thing to happen. But as a result of COVID, they've been a little bit more lenient on the waiver request. And we actually applied for a waiver last year and got it. That's why we started school this year prior to September 1st. And we've actually put in for the board passed a resolution to request the waiver again for next year to start early. And we're still waiting to hear back from DPI if they've granted our waiver request. And if they do, we would be looking at starting school like August 23rd, 24th would be orientation days. And then the 25th would be the first official day of school. So looking to get in a little bit earlier and then get out by the Friday of Memorial Day weekend would be our last school day then.
Plus, then it also allows for some changes like the Thanksgiving holiday week and spring break too, right?
Yeah, we would then be able to keep, I know back when I was in school, up until I believe about 2001, I think is when the law went into place post September 1. School started 25th of August in that area, and then you were done by Memorial Day. So this would allow us to return back to that concept of August, mid-20s August start date, being done by Memorial Day. And then we will also be able to keep that Thanksgiving week off and keep a spring break in the schedule, which I think families have come to really appreciate, that spring break, just that opportunity to get away in March. And then that Thanksgiving week is such a big week for holiday week and in our neck of the woods with hunting, that it gives everybody an opportunity to take that week off and go take part in many family traditions.
I think the gun deer season is now a week-long holiday in Wisconsin and many states in the upper Midwest, really.
Yep.
Talking with Durand, Arkansas School Superintendent Greg Doverspike this morning. The board also renewed some agreements with Alma, Plum City, and Pepin schools, and this is kind of where the districts are working together, but the Durand, Arkansas is kind of, I guess, want to say providing the service to the other districts.
Yeah, we've been doing this 660301 agreement. It's called for, I don't know how long, decades, where we provide some of the high needs or high cost, low incident, they also refer to it, but high need special education services for those school districts, just because they are unable to do it themselves. Like I said, they're high cost, low incident, which means it's not common. So for them to be able to do it on their own would be cost prohibitive. So we provide the service to them. And then obviously it saves us some financial impact as well. It saves us some money. And then it basically allows us to hire a person or two people to fill the void. And then, we may take the person for a certain percentage of time, and then they take it for some percentage of time. And each school district is billed based on the usage of it. So it really allows those school districts to continue to provide these services. And it allows us to save some funds. So it's a win for all districts involved. Like I said, it's been going on. I don't even recall when it went into play, but it's been going on long before I was here. Probably going back into the 20th century, into the late 1900s, kind of a deal. 1980s, 1990s, they were in that area. So it's been something that the district's been doing for quite a while.
Wow, you just made me feel really old saying late 1900s. I'm just saying.
Yeah, don't worry, I was around at that time too.
Now that these instructors, then do they work like a day or two in each building? Is that how that works?
For the regular special ed population, some of our higher needs special ed students, those school districts bus the kids to our district. But then we do farm out our OT and PT where they do work here, and then they do travel to those districts. Depending upon the schedule, it might be a day a week, might be They spend part of a day in Pepin and then come back here and finish their day, or vice versa, part of a day in Plum City, or go down there one day every other week or whatever. So it's all based on scheduling and what works in that individual teacher schedule, plus whatever works in that school district schedule. And Mrs. Zagoza oversees that as a director of pupil services and finds a way to make the schedule work along with those teachers involved in it. And like I said, it's worked for quite a while, so we'll keep plugging away with it.
Talking with Durand, Arkansas School Superintendent Greg Doverspike this morning about last week's school board meeting. Meanwhile, the board did approve some changes for staff salary, not only professional, but support staff salary. And part of this was just to reflect the realities of the marketplace, I guess.
Yeah, basically, if you look at each one of them individually with the support staff, yeah, I mean, the marketplace has increased wages throughout, which is making it harder and harder for us to retain these employees. When you look at some of the hourly wages, regionally, those wages have gone up. So we had to reflect that and increase our hourly individuals as well in an effort to retain them. And then when it comes from the teaching staff, every so often you have to analyze where you are, where your starting pay is, and our starting pay was getting a little low, so we needed to increase that and address some other just subtle things that happen within our salary structure to address just some kind of one-off type situations that only affected a handful of people. But in the end, we just wanted to continue to make ourselves competitive in the marketplace to try to retain quality educators and also recruit. I mean, education is no different than a lot of workplaces that you see. You see help wanted signs driving out throughout, communities, regionally, nationally, statewide. We're no different. Recruiting and retaining teachers is harder now than it probably ever has been in my career in terms of getting people here, and the number of people in the market is a lot less than what it was, 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago. So school districts have to be a little bit more proactive in what they need to do to try to keep those good ones here. And, because when I started in education in 2000, once you got so many years into a school district, you really didn't move because you couldn't afford to. Well, now, that's changed, and school districts are starting to see veterans leave or veterans apply for jobs, depending upon what end of that equation you're on. And so we need to be competitive at all ranges of our salary structure.
Have you started to see school districts try to rate other school districts?
Yes, that has happened. That's not uncommon. It's become much different. That was unheard of a decade ago, but now you're starting to see more and more of it. And the way you're seeing it might not be the superintendent or the administrator reaching out, but you might put people are putting subtle comments, I guess you could say, into people that know people. If you know somebody in another school that we might want or whatever, you might put a subtle comment in there. We don't do that a lot. I try not to do that. But it is what it is. The market is what the market is. And you have to do what you can to get the best people you can in the building. But, we kind of have a gentleman's agreement with those of us around here that we're going to be pretty open and transparent, because we work with these schools on a lot of different things. And we don't want to upset, have hard feelings, but we also understand what the market's like. And, I have really good relationships with the superintendents in the area here, and I like to keep it that way. So we try to work with each other on those kind of things and communicate back and forth if people apply for jobs from other school districts that we know of the individuals in.
Meanwhile, with substitutes, is there a big shortage of that? Are some of yourself and some of the other local districts saying maybe we need to work together to try to get substitutes?
Yeah, the substitute is a shortage, no matter where you look. We haven't really talked too much about working together, I think, because there are only so many. Each school district only has a handful, and typically you keep them busy on a day-to-day basis, or nearly a day-to-day basis. And so, we don't like to give the name out of the ones that we have for fear somebody else is going to take them, kind of a deal. It's like the secret, the trade secrets. You don't like to give those out to anybody. There are companies that have gone that offer that service that you can buy. We've just decided it's cost prohibitive and not real good. I think more school districts have gone to a little bit of what we've done the last couple of years, which is hire basically full-time subs that you have a variety of jobs for in your building, but one of the jobs that they have is they're a fill-in sub when needed. And you just have that person built in each building to help ease the burden, because what you're seeing is especially in the middle senior high school, you're seeing a lot of staff members give up prep periods to sub for teachers. And, that's only sustainable for so long before people start seeing some burnout.
Talking with Durand, Arkansas School Superintendent Greg Doverspike this morning. Meanwhile, in your report, you talked about a partnership with the Dunn County Economic Development Council that the district, some private folks and the city of Durand have kind of finally put together. Tell us about that.
Yeah, this has been a project that we've been working on, I'd say, for almost as long as COVID's been around, because that's what kind of started the conversation was coming out of COVID that first. So we'd say we've been working on this for probably 15, 16 months, talking about how to start an economic development corporation in our community, just to encourage economic growth, not just in Durand, but in the surrounding region, kind of, loosely termed the regions that encompass the school district, in an effort to just bring in new business, new people, new residents. And we've kind of taken a new approach, or a different approach that's kind of unheard of in the state. As we've Dunn County, we've kind of, through some individuals, kind of put us in contact, and Dunn County and our group are kind of having conversations about how to possibly work together in the future and have our own arm of the Dunn County EDC. I think it allows us to get a start in the process, get some experience with it, get some assistance, but also not require us to go through the process. I mean, when you start one of those, there's bylaws and, all the legal paperwork you have to do. That's an expenditure. So if you can jump on with somebody else, it obviously is a much easier and more cost-effective process. And that's kind of what we're looking for. So we're kind of excited that we're getting near the hopefully the end of being able to sign on to an agreement with them, and working with the city right now, because they've contributed some money to this, and kind of hopefully we can make something happen. I think it would be a good thing for our community. In my conversations with different EDC people, whether it be at the regional or the state level, it's like, if you aren't putting yourself out there, nobody knows you're around. So as long as we can have some presence out there to say to people we want to welcome new industry, new business to the community, I think it's a good thing.
Talking with Durand, Arkansas School Superintendent Greg Doverspike this morning. Well, the night of the school board meeting, of course, we had some severe weather, really that hit after the meeting, but understand that there was some damage over at the Bowerville Sports Complex.
Yeah, we had a little bit of damage to the backside of the scoreboard, and we're in the process right now of evaluating the cost of that and get that process going. But I think hearing what some other communities saw, I think we dodged a little bit of a lucky break there. And like I'm sure most people, it was kind of an interesting period there. Not too long after I got home from the board meeting, the siren went off. So I was basically walked in from the school board meeting and went straight to the basement with my family. And then, driving around early Saturday or Thursday morning, just to see if there was any damage. I wasn't sure what I'd wake up to at 5 a.m. if I was going to wake up to no power or massive power outages in the community or trees all over the roads, or if I was going to wake up to ice on the roads. I wasn't really sure what I was going to see, but thankfully all I saw was a lot of sticks on the road, but nothing too large. And people had power from all the conversations I had, and the roads weren't icy. So we got to run on time on Thursday. So that was a good thing.
Was it just the scoreboard that had damage, or were there anything else from the district that you noticed?
Not that we've seen or heard. We had the custodians kind of out looking around, and so far that's all we've really seen.
All right. Well, Superintendent Doverspike, I know now we kind of get into the holidays here. So well, the kids, they go through school till Friday and then they have the next week off?
They are done on Wednesday, actually, Brian.
Okay.
They're done Wednesday, and then they're off until the following Monday. So it's all of Thursday, Friday, and then all of that following week. So we hope everybody has a safe and happy Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And as I tell the people around here, go Packers, go Badgers, and go Panthers.
And finally, too, once we get done with the holiday, of course, we get into the thick of winter. Do have to ask, are snow days still on the table, or are, like Elmwood, when we did have the big snow, they just did no in-person classes? I mean, has the board talked about that?
The board has not talked about it. When we talked about it last year, they kind of left the decision up to administration, and we're kind of looking at, we'll allow 2 or 3 days to be traditional snow days, because what human being, what kid didn't like a traditional snow day, go outside, play in the snow. So we're going to allow the first couple to be traditional snow days. And then if we get past 2 or 3, then we're going to have some conversations about going virtual. But we do have the plans in place to go virtual with snow days. But I think we want to try to give everybody that tremendous opportunity of waking up to that snow day and looking for your school name. Well, nowadays you don't have to look for your school name on the bottom of the TV screen or listen to the radio, because we got Sky Alert messages and social media that take care of all that for us. But I don't know, back in my generation, what kid didn't wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning hoping to see your name on the bottom of the scroll, or turn on the radio and hope to God the DJ played, called your name for no school. That was always the big thing.
And we always had, and I remember as a kid, the announcers would say, now don't call us to ask if your school is closed, because if you do, and your school tries to call and they get a busy signal, you have to go to school. So don't call us.
Yeah.
That's exactly
nowadays everybody just watches Facebook or social media and waits for my voice to come across their phone.
So there you go. All right. Well, Superintendent Doverspike, again, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, and Merry Christmas.
Joined the Arkansas School Superintendent Greg Doverspike. You're listening to Real Country 1430 AM and 107.3 FM WRDN.